What's up, YouTube? This is Bison X79, guys, and I'm going to do my latest deck profile video for post-Master Rule Revision play. Alright, guys, today we're finally going to be getting a chance to look at my updated Metalfoes Yang Zing deck. I personally have been waiting a long time to update this deck, primarily because I was waiting on one particular card to come out. That card came out on Friday, March 20th, and if you guys haven't put it together, yeah, I was waiting on Needle Fiber. Needle Fiber just takes this deck to a whole another level. Just being able to get resources onto the field or on the main deck or even the extra deck is just such a huge ability, and it's just a welcome addition into the extra deck that it makes the deck sing. Alright? Other than that, just being able to utilize pendulum effects to get the Yang Zing monsters float effects going, also such a huge ability for the deck. And then whether this deck goes first or goes second, it can play either style, so you're going to have the ability to really mess with your opponent. Okay? Whether it be setting up a board with several negates just to play for your opponent to play through, or going second, busting apart your opponent's board by bouncing cards back to their hand, spinning cards back to their deck, or even just banishing them outright, or ripping cards out of your opponent's hand. This deck can do pretty much all of that. Alright, so without further ado, we're going to get right into this deck. Alright, I'm going to start off with the Yang Zings. Alright, so the Yang Zing effect monsters here. All the Yang Zings carry, the effect monsters carry the same float effect. Basically, if they're destroyed by card effect or battle, you're going to be getting a monster from your main deck back onto the field to replace it. Best way to turn around and to figure out what type of monster you're going to be bringing out with the card effect is to look at the monster that was destroyed's battle stats. If it has 0 defense, you're going to be bringing out a monster with 0 attack. If it has 0 attack, you're going to be bringing out a monster with 0 defense. Alright? Unless you're doing with Chuen, then it's pretty much anything can come out. Okay? All the non-tuner effect monsters do carry the ability to, a quick effect ability that can allow you to synchro summon during your opponent's turn. And then all the non-tuner effect monsters also have an effect that can add additional effects onto the synchro monsters that they're helping create. Beyond makes your synchro monsters completely unkillable in battle, which is actually pretty awesome. You have 1 of 3 copies of Bishi. Bishi makes your synchro monsters immune to the effects of traps, which basically means things like infinite impermanence, evenly matched, won't be able to touch them at all. Alright. Chuen is 1 of the tuners. If this card's in your graveyard and one of your Yang Zing monsters gets popped by card effect or battle, it's coming out of the graveyard back onto the field. In addition to the other monster that your Destroy Yang Zing is replacing itself with, which is actually pretty cool. Chuen does get banished, but not really that much of an issue. Alright. 3 copies of Jai Tao. Alright. The Dark Attribute on level 2 tuner monster. Send any 2 Yang Zing cards from your hand to the graveyard, and you're special summoning from your deck 2 other Yang Zing monsters, 1 with 0 attack, 1 with 0 defense. So, pretty damn awesome effect for the cards. Alright. Moving forward, we have 1 copy of Palau, the Wind of the Yang Zing. Palau makes your synchro monsters, it's made with immune to the effects of spells. Very awesome. Alright, and last but not least, we have 3 copies of Suwani, Fire of the Yang Zing. Suwani, the Fire of the Yang Zing, can add 500 attack and defense onto your Yang Zing. Or any synchro monsters that are made with it, which is actually pretty cool. The power buff does actually help out a lot. Alright. That being said, we're going to move on to the Yang Zing pendulums. We have 3 copies of Zephyr Neo. Zephyr Neo is actually very important, primarily because we're looking to either pop it or pendulum summon it out, primarily to turn around and get the search for the 9 pillars of the Yang Zing out of the deck. Alright? We do not, and I want to repeat this, do not want to have this card in our scales, primarily because it will just lock us down into summoning out Yang Zing monsters, and we don't want to be doing that because there will be times where we want to be pendulum summoning out other Metalfoes cards alongside it, just so we can have the levels on the field to synchro summon with. Alright, so definitely keep this guy in the monster zones. Alright? Same thing goes with the one copy of Zephyraxi. Zephyraxi, whenever its pendulum summoned out, gets the effect that turns it into a tuner monster, so you will have a level 3 tuner monster on the field to be able to build your synchros with. Alright? That's it for the Yang Zings. One last tuner monster. We have one copy of Placebreader Zombie. Placebreader is actually very good in this deck, primarily because of Needle Fiber being able to bring it out, and then utilizing it to synchro off, send an unneeded card from your hand back to the top of your deck, get this card back out of the graveyard, and you can synchro someone with it again. So very awesome. Alright. For the Metalfoes lineup, one copy of Rare Metalfoes Bysma Gear, 2 copies of Volflame, 2 copies of Steelin, 2 copies of Silvered, and 2 copies of Gold Driver. Primary reason was that we're running 2 copies of Vanillas, primarily because we want them in the scales to pop the face-up cards, specifically the Yang Zing monsters, to get their float effects. Other reason is that we want the smaller levels primarily because they're great synchro fodder. So that's the Metalfoes part of the deck. We're going to be going into the spells. Only 3 spells. We have 1 copy of Metalfoes fusions. We have 2 fusions in the extra deck, which is actually pretty damn awesome. Just being able to bring them out could help you win the duels. While there's cards in your graveyard, you could actually just turn around and add it back into your deck to draw additional cards. So consistency always is a plus. We do have 2 recursion cards in here. We have 1 copy of Heart of Arbors and 1 copy of Yang Zing Path. I'm liking this ratio a bit. Path is a little bit easier to get going than Arbors, primarily because it just requires 3 Yang Zing monsters to be in the graveyard. You recycle them back into your deck and you draw 2 cards. Arbors requires 5 monsters in the graveyard, and that could possibly be a little bit more difficult. Early off in your combos. After you finish your combo, it's a pretty damn good card because you can recycle a lot of things back into your extra deck and your main deck as well. So, I know post April 1st we are allowed to run more of them, but right now I'm liking the split between these 2 cards. Alright. 2 copies of Metalfoes Combination, and the primary reason why we were utilizing Metalfoes Combination is basically to pop it off with Boxy's effect. Basically, you target 1 card you control, pop it, and you get a level 4 lore Yang Zing monster back from your graveyard onto your field, which is actually pretty awesome. Can help really continue your combo plays, building them off pretty easily. Any turn after you send it to the graveyard, you can banish this card from the graveyard and get a Metalfoes monster from your deck to your hand, which is actually pretty cool. Alright. Metalfoes counter. Primarily, if any card is destroyed on your field, you can flip this card face up and get a Metalfoes monster face up in the field, which is actually pretty cool. While this card's in the graveyard, you can banish it and get a Metalfoes monster out of your extra deck and into your hand, which is actually pretty cool as well. Very useful. Okay. 3 copies of 9 Pillars of the Yang Zing. Alright, 9 Pillars is actually very awesome as long as you have a Yang Zing monster face up in the field, specifically Zephyr Neo. You can activate this card, pop the monster, and then negate whatever you need to negate on your opponent's side of the field. A lot of players, they might want to swap out the 3rd copy for the Zephyr Counter Trap, which is also a good idea to have in this right now. Alright. And last but not least, we have 1 copy of Yang Zing Creation. Yang Zing Creation is just an amazing card. If this card's face up and your Yang Zing monsters are destroyed by battle card effect, you're getting an additional Yang Zing monster on the field. In addition to that card's the monster that was destroyed's float effect, which is actually pretty awesome. It helps the deck to get really going really fast. So, awesome. Alright, so that's it for the main deck. Extra deck, 2 copies, 2 Metalfoes fusions, like I said. We have Mithrilium, which can actually recycle Metalfoes stuff back into your deck to bounce card off your opponent's field. Awesome. Orichalc can actually inflict piercing damage if your opponent puts monsters in defense position, and that will probably happen a lot post Master Roll of Vision. Not only that, but it can inflict double piercing damage, which is actually pretty damn awesome as well. So that's why we have it in the extra. For the synchros, Herald the Art, like, very important card to have. just making this card immune to battle, being destroyed by battle can actually mean a whole lot, because you can keep this card on the field in defense position, and any card that's sent your opponent sends to the graveyard is actually going to be banished instead. So definitely awesome. Alright, we got Chambara. Chambara can attack twice per turn, and it gains 200 attack during the start of every battle phase. You attack this in with something like Suwani, the power up boosted by another 500. Yeah, and you start going to be piling on the attack really fast on this card. Alright. One copy of Wonder Magician. Summon this card out. Whether it be Synchro, Aura, off of Needle Viper's effect, you can pop a card off the field. Or a spell card off the field. Alright. Yazi, more spot removal, pops a card on your side of the field. Hopefully it's a Yang Zing monster, and you pop one of your opponents. Alright. 2 copies of Baxia. Baxia is actually pretty awesome. When it's Synchro Summoned, you basically count up the number of tributes you use to Synchro Summon this card out with, and then you can return that many cards off your opponent's field to their hand, which is actually pretty awesome. And like I said before, with Metalfoes combination, target 1 card on your field, destroy it, and you're able to get a level 4 or lower Yang Zing monster back from the graveyard to the field, which is awesome. Alright. 1 copy of Draco, Berserker of the Tenyi. Berserker of the Tenyi is actually insane. Anytime your opponent activates a card effect, you're banishing the card, which just makes it very hard for your opponent to deal with things. Not only that, but if it destroys a monster by battle, it gains that monster's attack points, and it can make it a second attack on monsters again. So, yeah, definitely a very nasty powerhouse card to really help you win duels with. Alright. Another level 8, we got the Ignis, which is basically going to help out with spinning cards back to your opponent's deck by popping one of your scales. Since we don't have Electromite anymore, this is going to be the ace monster for any deck that has a bit of a pendulum engine in it, like Metalfoes Yang Zing. Definitely a very awesome card, and it's worth having to help clear off your opponent's field. And of course, last but not least, Siphonary Lord Omega. You can make this card, bounce it off the field, rip a card out of your opponent's hand. I know a lot of people probably wouldn't like to considering utilizing the Yang Zing effects to make it immune to certain things. Wouldn't be that good. Another card that I probably would be willing to try out will probably be Void Ogre Dragon, just for an additional negate on the board. If you want to go that way. Playing Keep Away with opponent's cards is something I like, and it's usually the first card I like to add in. So, definitely something to consider. Alright, for all the level 8s, we do have the ability to go into number 38, Hope Harbinger Titanic Dragon Galaxy. 2 boxies are typically what you utilize to make this card, and you basically let this card sit in the field and it negates the activation of particular spells. Which is just huge. Can help protect smaller monsters by redirecting the attacks onto itself. So definitely something to be worth looking at. And of course, Crystron, Hackwafflebax, and Needle Viper. Link summon this card out. You can actually special summon a tuner monster, Plague Spreader Zombie, from your deck to the field. And from there, this combo off. We're not really looking for arrows right now. So the links right now, Needle Viper is pretty much all we really would need, but just to help out with the arrows for pendulum summonings, we do have Shaman of the Tenyi as well as the Dragon Masters of the Tenyi, primarily just for the arrows when we're pendulum summoning out of the extra deck. It just allows us to get the monsters on board. Alright. Guys, that is it for my Metalfoes Yang Zing deck post Master Rule revision. Guys, I really hope you enjoy this deck. I'm very psyched that we finally got Needle Viper back into the TCG, so we can actually be able to utilize this deck and get it up to the level we're really supposed to be. As always, guys, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this on my channel, make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss any uploads. Check out the description box below. Find an invite link to my Discord server. Join the conversation. We'd love to have you. Follow me on social media, Twitter, and Reddit. And if you want to help support the channel, use my TCG Player affiliate link in good health. Alright, guys. Until next time, as always, peace.